All right. Well, let's jump right into it. What thoughts, concerns, grievances, issues you're running through, or just things that you're kind of wanting opinions and, advice from experience from? Just unmute, throw it in the chat, raise a hand. Jeff, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm curious if anybody has any feedback on maybe how they're using or incorporating AI into their work life, daily work life. I've been dabbling in it for a little while now and just still trying to figure out where it can work best for me. So anyway, I don't know if anybody has any feedback on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of
Great
people are
question.
thinking those same things and kind of dabbling around. Jordan, do you have feedback on this or?
I have a separate question, but we did try to meet with a gal local that is a third party. She's an AI expert basically, and different ways that she could automate our business. It kind of sputtered out, but some simple things that we have looked at is automating receipt input, automating in CMM that Redmond Growth does this, where you have automated messages that go out to customers, whether that's a follow-up message or a pre-booking message or anything like that. So they fill out a form fill on your website, immediately a message goes out saying, thank you for your form fill, we'll be in contact with you, things like that. Not missing any opportunities for a Google review, not missing anything like that. I think those are the low-hanging fruit, but for us, we want to try to find ways to use AI to help automate back-end work and alleviate some of the stress in the office, even something as simple as receipts being entered into QuickBooks and stuff like that.
Yeah. What is the tool, Jordan? Have you found that as far as like the receipt entering? It sounded like you had done that, or was that just an idea she suggested?
It kind of sputtered out for that with us, and maybe if Stacy's on the call, she can elaborate more on what the system was. But we have like 2 in-person meetings, and it just kind of puttered out with actually getting her hired to do those items for us.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be valuable. I think that there's some people like for remodelers to an extent as well on the service side, but there's already been price books for a while that help make pricing a lot quicker on the service side. But even for the bigger projects, I know of some people that have maybe started trying to incorporate AI and estimating. There's anybody that has done that on the call here that might be able to offer some inputs there, how that's worked, what level of prompting you have to do, stuff like that.
Yeah, I do that often. You just have to be very careful with your inputs that you're putting into ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever you use. So you have to make sure that you put your labor rate in, your burden rate, your material markup, and you have to be very specific with your inputs. Otherwise, it's going to potentially give you a very wide-ranging estimate. But for like something like me, you could put in a very quick, just talk to text, hey, please give me an average cost, $150 labor rate, 100% markup on material, 25% burden rate. We're installing a Tesla charger 75 feet across a basement. We're going to need to cut drywall and use, this type of wire. And I can do that and talk to text in a minute, and it's going to basically spit me out a quote immediately on that. If nothing else, it's a way to kind of check your price book to see, hey, where does our price book sit and what is AI finding with this, But it's a way, especially on some commercial quotes where there's a lot of moving parts on it, and it's not something that's really going to end up on our price book. It's a way to get a quick ballpark number out and then kind of fine tune it with actual costs from your supply house and things like that.
Jordan, what inputs, like if you were to think of it in terms of almost like a checklist, what inputs have you had to consistently add to a prompt in order to get a more accurate estimate using AI? Like you just said at the end, check it against your local supply house. I'm kind of curious what data AI bases its like pricing for materials. And so I'm curious if that's an input that you have to put in, or what are the other, you mentioned them in brief just now, but I'm curious if like, what are they, if you think about it, what are the actual inputs that you're putting in every time?
So the more specific you can get, the better it is. I only know the electrical world, but if you can detail wire size and conduit size, or even use that AI to calculate your wire size and conduit size, and then you kind of look at what it said, what it spits out at you, and then you can ask it to refine that even further and refine that even further. It typically gives a range of like high end, mid range, and low rate, high end, mid range, and economy or whatever. And you can just continue to drill into that same prompt with additional questions that you want to ask it, and it'll rework that original question with additional prompts.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of like Bryce was more asking Jordan directly, but internally as a team, we have been wanting to figure out how we can leverage AI more for contractors. And we see probably the most obvious opportunity being in the estimating process. And I don't mean to pivot. And Jeff, if your question isn't being answered, dude, like
no, this is his question, right?
Well,
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Where can I use it in my work best?
Yeah,
obviously,
I'm
like
curious.
there's tons of ways. There's managing my emails and all of those things. That's great, but I agree. I think estimating is probably the easiest thing to start implementing it on.
I would love to get some feedback just from literally anyone on the call of how you've begun to use AI, for your estimating process. If you're using it in other areas of your business, would love to hear about that too. But would love to get feedback from anyone. Is anyone using AI regularly right now in their estimating process besides just Jordan and Russell?
I'm playing with it a little bit, and I was asking what platform they were using. I have subscribed to a platform called Handoff. I've not used it to put together a proposal completely yet. I've put stuff, and then I'm playing with it, I guess is the best way to put it. I'll put together an estimate, and then I put the information in Handoff. And yeah, definitely the more specific you can get, like even saying what type of neighborhood you're working in, what and stuff like that, changes the dynamics of some of it. So yeah, it's definitely a big learning curve.
Okay, that's really, really helpful. That's good insight on especially the neighborhoods. Travis, what do you got, buddy? Travis Logston.
Hey, good morning. So I am in the second year of my business here. Technically, I'm still kind of getting off the ground, and I use.
You're an IT guy too. You have an IT background, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. An IT guy becomes a contractor. Okay, I'm really curious. Yeah.
I'm hoping that works out well. But I use Microsoft Copilot heavily. Basically starting a business from scratch. I do have tons of background in trades, and I have, like I said, the IT. I know technology is a big contributor to business nowadays. So I use Microsoft Copilot heavily. The first thing to note about Copilot for me is that it understands that it's working on my business. Like, it's not a fresh conversation every time. Like it takes into context all of the conversations, all the questions that I've asked, everything that it's produced. It knows that is behind the next question that I'm going to ask it. So I do find that helpful. I use it for estimating. If I'm writing job descriptions, rather than having a blank slate, I will start with something that it produces, and then I will go through and make edits or whatever as is necessary. But I use it so that I don't have to think of everything from scratch. With estimating too, I do use that one a lot. I have to be specific with the prompts. I'll say, I give it York, PA, or I'll tell it to be an expert in a field or something like that. So I try to set the table for it so that it's not just a blank question like I would ask Google. I get very specific with the prompts so that it gives me very specific output.
That's really good. And I have found to kind of add to that it sounds like most everyone who's using AI has said some degree of this, but I have always never relied on any pure output that AI has given me. It has always required that editing kind of fine-tuning process for me. And so, Jordan mentioned that, Travis just mentioned that, and that's something that I kind of want to set an expectation. I would never really rely on just the output of a prompt. I would always make sure that you're going back and actually reading what the output is before putting it in front of somebody or taking it and running with it. Ty, would love to hear from you, man. Oh, you're muted, brother. You're muted.
So my wife has done an incredible job, especially with all of the built-ins that we've been pricing out and winning lots of. But just a little example, got a meta lead yesterday. The gentleman actually lives 5 streets over from us, said that he's wanting to remodel his bathroom, except the fact that he pulled it over and he's got water damage. So we have an appointment set for Friday afternoon. I jumped online because I'm a real estate broker, but also you can do it by just going to realtor.com, finding the last time the house got sold, which is when he bought it, found a picture of his bathroom, AI, the new shower, everything going in it, glass, mirror, and send it to him and said, hey, is this something you guys might be interested in? This is your bathroom from your listing. And that's like really immediately cool. Back, he goes, that's kind of crazy. Yeah. I mean, that's something to talk about, but they don't have it, or a lot of people are scared of it. And, but just that one little idea being sent to him before my meeting on Friday of at least he's looking now and not wondering what something could be in his bathroom that's torn down to studs with water damage.
You're like, hey, I had a secret camera in your bathroom this whole time. That is really cool. What I love about that is that's like a creative use of AI. I would have never thought of that to pull like from Zillow or whatever you got the pictures from the listing from. And it's a creative way to bring that wow factor into the picture to get someone's attention. I mean, Ty's, if they're getting competitive bids, he's going to absolutely stand out above all of them because he was able to do a somewhat of an accurate rendering of what the bathroom could look like, which at the end of the day is what the customer wants. That's their biggest kind of concern. And I know that wouldn't be applicable for every job type, but it would be applicable for probably most people in here. So that's I'm really glad that you shared that. Anyone else? How you use AI in your business?
One thing separate from estimating is we've done one SBA 504 loan. We're also looking at doing another one currently for our roof. We're going to get a new roof on our building. And without ChatGPT or AI assistance getting us through that loan process, it would have taken 3 to 4 times as long as it probably did. So whether it's insurance, legal questions, or applying for a bank loan, it can give you very state-specific information for what laws, whether it's insurance, how to handle an employee tough situation. Are they required to clock out for lunch every day? Just simple things like that. You can really pull that info very quickly. I would still recommend checking it with your lawyer if you have one. but
And if you
9
don't,
times out of 10, it's pretty accurate. I mean, we had to create a business plan for our loan, and ChatGTP made the entire business plan. And, you know, we made that entire business plan in 30 minutes with ChatGTP. That would have probably taken us a 40-hour week with 2 people.
I did the exact same thing with Power Builders. Created a more formal business plan, and then I reviewed it with my dad, which, by the way, if anyone's applying for a loan and you would like some help putting yourself in a position of a higher likelihood of approval, I would love to connect anyone here with Tim, my dad. He's not really seen all the time by really any of our clients, just because that is by design from the original part of our business. But he still is here. Many of you have actually met with him on different occasions. There's certain expertise that he has, such as, you know, selling businesses, buying businesses. He's worked a lot with bankers. He's gotten funded a lot from banks on SBA loans and things like that. And so I just want to share, if anyone ever needs help in that process, we've got resources for it. But that's really good insight, Jordan. Anyone else? How are you using? Yeah.
I'm currently using the AI chatbot in the CMM. So because I answer the phone calls, do all the back office stuff, and also find myself on site sometime. So the CMM has an AI chatbot, if nobody's already mentioned this. I know I came in a little late, but I use the AI chatbot for whenever I'm on the phone or working with a customer and can't answer the phone. And so it answers the phone, schedules the job or the estimate, and collects all the information for the customer, so that therefore we can follow up with them and put them in separate pipelines and make sure that they get their estimate. And then we sell that. So we do use a chatbot. So I heard the 2 things that were mentioned. So I do those things as well. I've written my business plan, and they call it something else. You have to. It's on my wall over here. I forgot. I got into this Motor City Contractor Fund in the city of Detroit. We were awarded, so we're now members. So we get all this money all the damn time for ideas we have, and I use AI to fill out the entire thing. And so I got one more thing I got to do before the end of this month, and I'm gonna have AI figure that out for me, and a capability statement or something like that. I forgot what it was. AI is gonna figure it out, and then I edit it and put it together. So I'm used to being the AI. I'm used to being the one creating documents and the language and doing all those details. I'm used to being that guy. And so when AI does it for me, it's really in my voice. And then I go in and I can just edit it a little bit. So I use AI big time, all the time.
Nice. Yeah. Almost like applying for funding or getting into programs, stuff like that. That's another interesting way too.
Yeah, I think using it for those purposes and similar to what Jordan said, like creating a business plan, is great, because there's when you're doing those things, like formatting just the document is one of the biggest things that takes the most amount of time. And AI makes that go so much faster. You know, I know for me, I've been like, well, I can give someone all the necessary information about my business that they need, but there typically is a more formal formatting procedure, right? And I think it's really good to use it for that purpose. I think the only time where I would warn against using AI is letting it do all your thinking for you and not checking against that. Like I'm very big, like I've sent you guys emails recently. Has everyone been getting those, by the way? Part of the reason why I'm asking is we've switched to a new email system. We were having trouble with our emails for a while. I think I sent one a couple days ago. Has everyone received that or seen those emails?
Yes.
Thumbs up. Okay, cool. So like when I'm writing those emails, that's like purely written by me. But what I'll do is after I write the emails, I'll have AI edit, and then I'll go back through even after the edits and fine tune it even more, because sometimes I'm like, I wouldn't say this word, or like, that doesn't make sense. Like, this isn't something I'd say. And so that is kind of one precaution I want to say, is just AI can be an extremely useful tool. I would just warn against having it do all the thinking for you. I'm actually kind of nervous about humanity's future. Not in this like diabolical sense, but I think with as technology rises and as intelligence, like being able to use intelligence as a commodity now, I'm worried about no one reading or like looking at anything anymore. I have a tendency to do that. I've got to watch that for myself. So Jeff, yeah.
I'm just gonna add that I do this. It's an app. It's I think a web-based thing as well, but it's called Masterclass. Some of you guys might do it, or I would imagine probably do it. But there's a really good about hour and 40-minute class about AI and how to use it and how to. The guy that kind of teaches it, and there's multiple people that teach different things you can do, but he's really good about explaining how, it's just how AI will come into our lives, and humans will be working alongside of it. I mean, yes, it's going to take some jobs for sure, but I don't know, it just gives you a lot of good feedback, ideas of ways to utilize it in your daily life and in your career. So it's like $20 a month for this Masterclass app.
Nice.
Jordan, you got something else, buddy?
I do, and then I have a question. One, Jeff, would you mind putting a link to that in the chat if you have it?
Sure.
Two other things I can think of that we use AI for is social media posts. So Facebook posts, we have a gal in the office, and basically the guys submit pictures to her and like a brief description of the work for the job. And then she uses AI to polish that into a really nice Facebook post. And it has the emojis, and it's formatted very well, and it looks very professional. And she can spit those out right away. And she's somebody who knows nothing about the actual installation process, The other thing we use it for as well is Dream 100 work. So you can very quickly put into a prompt, hey, pull all the pool contractors in the Omaha area and surrounding 20 miles. Or put all the property management companies, or put all the hotels that are privately owned, put all the grocery stores that are privately owned. So the stuff that we're looking for in terms of Dream 100 work, that works very well. The question that I have, if we're done with AI, if we're not done with AI, I can wait.
Well, I think there's one kind of final question. I don't know if anyone has any more feedback on how they're using AI. This is really, really great discussion. I think the final question that I have is, I would like to know, maybe collectively, and if the answers are all different, that's okay too. But I'd like to ask, what is a routine activity that consistently eats up the most amount of time in your business, and is something that if you could accelerate without compromising the quality by which you perform that thing, that's something that you'd like to move a lot faster? So for most people, by the way, historically in our business, this has been the estimating process. That's probably one of the biggest things we've heard from contractors, of something they'd like to accelerate faster, something that takes a lot of time, something that kind of can be a bottleneck in their business, because they have to, sit down, figure it out, block out a couple hours for every single estimate. They don't know if the customer's going to book, with that estimate or not. Nothing's finalized. And so I'm curious, what is a part of your business and whether AI is applicable for it or not, that doesn't matter, right? I just want to know, what is a part of your business that is eating the most amount of your time consistently, and is something that you would like to accelerate? That could be the estimating process. It could be something else. Anyone have feedback there?
Yeah. So, good morning, Robert. How are you doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Good. In our business, one of the things that takes up the most time is the actual. So we design kitchens and bathrooms, and so for our designers, that's a big part of the process is them designing the layout for the cabinetry countertops, and we've thought about it'd be great if you had AI that could. And there are some programs that do it. We use 2020. I don't think currently they have like an AI assistant that would help with that design work, but that would be something that would be very beneficial for us to speed that process up if our designers could use AI to create those designs.
That's really good feedback. I'm taking some notes here. Basically, what I'm asking is this: is Redmond Growth, our team, we're gonna figure out how to leverage AI more for you guys in a way that's reliable. And what I want to know, because there's a lot of different ways that you can use AI, I want to know where we should put our focus first, and maybe developing a tool or even an easy copy paste kind of prompting system to make that part of your business go faster. So that's the exact kind of feedback I'm looking for. Is what Johnny just shared. But it could be anything. Johnny said in the design process, I'd love to use AI to accelerate that process. I actually think Ty's idea isn't a bad idea to experiment with. The thing that Ty mentioned earlier of how we found the listing on Zillow, added some of the features of the general things maybe the homeowner described that they wanted, and then almost giving them a new design. It's not as thorough as a designer would probably make it, but still able to bridge that gap between the vision and actually being able to see a possible reality of that. Anyone else? What part of your business would you like to accelerate that consistently eats a lot of time?
Robert, I can't remember if it was Travis or who said it earlier, but with the Microsoft platform, he said that it basically saves his inputs. So for us, we want to be able to replicate across the entire group, right? So if there's a platform that would be standardized basically for each person in the field to use, whether that was the service techs or whatever, where it basically has our company information and saved inputs, whether that's labor rate, material markup, burden rates, travel time, things like that. Your Omaha area, where you're not having to come back and potentially re-put those prompts in. Those prompts are going to be on every estimate, but a platform that each team member can use with prompts that are saved in there, unique for your business and unique for your area. So you don't run the risk of user error, not putting the right inputs in on the stuff that's going to be there every time.
Yeah, so you're saying I would love to have a tool that really knows the unique particulars of my business,
Sure.
right? And that could be a lot of different things. It could be the way that we estimate, the specific margins we use in our estimating process. It could be, having certain standards in the field, even maybe a checklist of what to do in certain situations, how certain situations are handled, the scripts for how we handle those situations. But basically it sounds like you're wanting almost a AI tool that remembers the core characteristics and unique kind of approaches that your business takes towards everything that the team could easily use and reference in the field.
Right. So even if that's a membership or something like that, where each person could have that specific app with saved inputs on their iPad or on their computer. So it's standardized across the team.
That's really good. Anyone else? Does anyone feel the estimating process is a bottleneck in their business?
Definitely.
Okay. So I was surprised that not more people were saying that because I've always thought of it that way. What do you guys find, Travis, you said definitely, what do you guys find to be like, what part of that is the biggest bottleneck? Is it having to, research specific material pricing according to the scope? Is it having to build out an entire schedule, right, that corresponds with an estimate? What do you think the biggest bottleneck is in the estimating process that just eats the most amount of time?
So, I mean, I might not be the best person to ask at this point. My business, I'm trying to focus on everything. I think I'm learning that I need to narrow my focus, perhaps to kitchens and baths or something like that. But because I offer such a wide array of services, this becomes like a materials bank. Like I need to know the cost of drywall. I need to know the cost of lumber. I need to know the cost of shingles. All of these things, there needs to be an awareness of that. Every job's different, so, and again, I'm very new in the industry here, so maybe this already exists, but like square footage estimating seems like, that would be a dream come true if you could apply that across the board, and maybe you can, and I don't know how to do it exactly, but, if you could just take some measurements of a room and shotgun approach, maybe, that would be a lot quicker. But because every job is a little bit different, I tend to get mired in the details of all those tiny differences, and put it, because I want to make sure that my estimates are accurate. Like I don't just do like swags and hope I hit the mark. Like I'm very, especially on the front end here, as I'm learning, I'm also using it as a learning process for the development of my business. I imagine as I go along, I'm going to get better at estimating and more efficient at it. And I can kind of do swags because I've done 1 million bathrooms. So I know that, if it fits this set of parameters, it's likely going to be this much for a bathroom. But I mean, there's so much variation. Some people want tile, some people want tub surrounds, just material differences, the actual work itself, being able, I think, to categorize that stuff broadly. I'm imagining an estimating software where I can click drop downs, and the more drop downs that I click, the more narrow the parameters become, and the more dialed in the estimate for the job becomes. But for me, like I said, there's just so many considerations, and it's so different now that most of the time, most estimates for me are starting from scratch. Just got to look at everything, on a case by case basis.
Yeah, and I found that if you're doing like any sort of new construction work, remodeling, there's going to be unique parts of every job, like you're saying. Oh my God, what is happening to me? It's an earthquake. Help, help. Speaking of AI, this is an AI camera that I guess is freaking out a little bit. Okay, there we go.
Seemed like it was disagreeing.
Yeah, no, yeah. It can hear us. It's taking over. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I actually think Ty Burcham is probably a really good example because he lives in both worlds a little bit. What I mean by that is Ty and his wife, Leslie, who just raised her hand. I'll grab you just a second, Leslie. They own an epoxy flooring business and they have a remodeling business. And the epoxy coatings business, they're able to estimate according to square footage. Oh my God, this is like way too distracting. I'm going to just turn this off temporarily. They're able to estimate according to square footage because it's the same type of thing every single time. They just need to know how much of that thing are they delivering. My understanding is Ty and Leslie, you guys aren't estimating your remodeling projects according to square footage, just because, like Travis just mentioned, every job is unique. And so for the businesses that estimate on square footage. I think that's a great approach. However, the businesses that typically are doing that are performing one type of service where the materials, the labor, everything, it's really repeatable. It's consistent every time. They just need to know how big the space is, right? But I think there's ways to leverage AI to do the harder thing, which you just described, which is more quickly being able to find an accurate estimate when the materials of every job are changing and the scope is changing. Leslie.
Oh, yeah, I can't even figure out how to turn off my mute on this. No, so just talking about AI and how it can be helpful. Of course, estimating would love a way to get that to be done faster instead of having to, figure out all the pricing and all the different pieces. But one way in working on an estimate that I found is like super helpful in using AI is, when there's some things that we do, all the time. So we just, you copy and paste the estimate and it's the same steps, but other things that, take a lot more detail to put into the estimate. I use AI and I put in the picture of this, I'm going from this to this, and this is what I'm doing, write the estimate for me. And usually AI does a much better job than I do of all the steps that are going to happen in the process. And I mean, just for an example, so we're going into a house, we're doing all the flooring, but they have carpeted steps and they want to convert the carpeted steps to wood steps. There's a lot of pieces that go into that. So I put the carpeted steps and a picture of the wood steps we want it to look like. It spit me out, 20 steps in the process in a beautiful, it sounded nice, elegant, the way that it should sound. Of course I went back and edited, proofread and edited, but, I mean, it would have taken me 30 minutes to sit and type out everything. And I probably wouldn't have included all the things that a customer would want to hear in it. And it did it for me. So I'm just saying that's a way I saved 30 minutes and I put together an estimate in probably 5 minutes on it. Of course, I had to go get all the piecing for the pricing on it, but it did it for me and it did it well. So maybe.
So real quick, that last thing you just said, though, I think is really important. You put all the pricing information. So you do the research for the pricing information. You put the pricing information, the prompt, then you describe the job in detail. And the combination of those two things is what allows you to get the accurate estimate.
Well, in this, I'm not talking about even pricing. So I did the pricing, but I just put on, I'm converting these steps, these carpeted steps to this wood step, to the wood steps, and give me the description, the scope of work, I guess, scope of work description. It gave me every single step that was involved in doing that, which, yes, I know that's all involved in doing it, but it just did it for me and wrote it all out in, 5 seconds. I went and proofread and edited as I needed and copy and pasted into the estimate. So if I would have sat and typed it out, it would have taken, quite a while and it wouldn't have been as nice sounding as AI did it. So it's just a simple little way that I've saved time using Gemini. So.
Oh, that's good. I was going to ask, because I think it's important when we say AI, there's so many different tools and different platforms you can go onto. So I think, it's good to know which tools are actually being used, because ChatGPT is good for like writing content. Perplexity is good for doing research. Gemini and Claude have a little bit different functionalities. So, and those are just like
I guess I should specify that ChatGPT is what I use for text. Gemini is more for images. Yeah.
Cool. That's good. Thanks, Leslie.
Yep.
Ty.
Yeah, on that same note, by the way, a lot of people don't know ChatGPT can cost money, and Gemini, if you're a Google person, is on your phone. It's free. And so I do unlimited images on Gemini, and ChatGPT lets me have about 1.5 before it locks in on my credit card. So just a lot of people don't have any idea that Gemini is included on your Google accounts. So
that's really good. Glad you said that. Yeah. Travis.
An interesting aside in terms of AI platforms. I haven't made much use of it yet, but Grok in Twitter is supposedly on a lot of the benchmark tests one of the best AI platforms. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense because of all the, I guess, data inputs, everything that it has the ability to see and digest. So I'm thinking about leveraging that, just giving that a shot. But Grok from Twitter or X.
Yeah, my favorite thing about Grok is when it openly disagrees with Elon Musk. On the actual it'll see tweets where Grok replies to Elon Musk like correcting him, which to me is like, okay, the guy, he built a good tool. Like that's almost a, you know.
Yeah, it's not a yes man of an AI.
Yeah. I don't, he may have changed it though after that happened a few times. I'm not sure. I never know with that guy. Anyway. Ty, did you have something else or is your hand still raised? We're about out of time. Okay, guys, this was such helpful feedback. This is something that we really want to lean into solving. There's a lot of great feedback. I think what I'm hearing is there, you know, it'd be helpful to know, hey, which tools are best for what, and how we could, you know, leverage AI more to produce accurate estimates, as well as some of, you know, having, you know, I really like what Jordan shared about having a tool that they could have in the field, and what Johnny shared about having it involved in the design work. So, yeah, guys, great discussion, great feedback. Did you have something, Alex? Did you raise your hand?
No, sorry, I was.
I just want to make sure we got everybody. Okay, guys. Well, if there isn't anything else, really appreciate everyone being on the call. You know how we like to end every group call. If you could unmute your mics, I'm going to count down from 3. If you're the first time here, oh man, I can always rely on Damon Hobbs to show up, man, during this time. If it's your first time here, we like to end with a breakdown. So I just count down from 3, 2, 1, and after I say 1, we all say growth. Okay. So 3, 2, 1.
Growth.
All right, guys. Have a great